I'd like to call the order the Plan Commission for August 4th at 6 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Graff.
Here.
Commissioner Oliver.
Here.
Alderman Kubaki.
Here.
Commissioner Jocks.
Here.
Mayor Pitfalski.
Present.
Planner Trizbitowski.
Here.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
The agenda was posted and distributed to all news media requesting notification in accordance with the open meeting laws on Friday, July 31st.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes. There are none. Consent business. Resolution PC 049-2020 and Resolution PC 050-2020.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent business passes unanimously. New business for consideration, PC 047-2020. Discussion of a conceptual certified survey map for Mark and Linda Troger, located at South 110 West 21050 South Danoon Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Actually, this is just for
It's just a-
discussion.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So this proposal in front of you tonight is a conceptual review, and as a reminder to everyone, conceptual reviews are a review where the Plan Commission, kind of goes over a proposal, has any questions or comments for the developer or the land divider. They're welcome to ask those questions, and then this is meant to serve as a good chance for the applicant to realize, do they want to take this project forward? Do they not? Or what other questions might there be, so they can decide how they want to proceed forward. So the proposal in front of you tonight is to take one existing lot that's around 2 acres in size and another lot that's much larger, 40 plus acres in size, and kind of do some lot line adjusting and actually sever a lot off that would, when you look at the mapping quickly, almost appears as a lot already today, but we quickly find out isn't. So the zoning in this general area is RS2, which typically requires 20,000 square foot lots with a lot width of 110 feet each. The unique thing in this land division proposal, and if you look at the map that's on the screen in your packet, the hatched lots that are shown, the cross-hatching lot is the newly proposed lot. And you'll see that there's blue lines and red lines on that drawing. The blue line are the existing lot lines, and the red lines are the proposed adjusted lot lines. So the reason we really have this here for conceptual discussion is there's one item that really makes this unique here. And that's the idea that this existing house that's shown on the drawing, as well as the cross-hatch lot, which is the proposed lot, these properties currently do not have frontage on a public city road. And as you may be aware or remember, the city's land division ordinance talks about every newly divided lot is supposed to have frontage on a publicly dedicated right-of-way. And per the city codes, those right-of-ways are supposed to actually be improved to a city road standard. Now, the existing lot in question, which is the lot to the west that has the existing house on it, currently has a driveway that accesses a shared driveway easement. So there's 5 or 6 homes in this neighborhood that currently share a private easement, for lack of a better term. It's not a road right away, it's just an easement. And what the applicant is asking for is to be allowed kind of 2 waivers from the Plan Commission. One of them would be the idea that they don't have any right-of-way frontage at all, as that's one of the items that's in the land division ordinance. And the other item, which since they don't have frontage they can't meet, basically says you need at least 45 feet of right-of-way frontage on a cul-de-sac or 80 feet of right-of-way frontage on a non-cul-de-sac. So their waivers both relate to right-of-way frontage. These are waivers the Plan Commission has the ability to grant. As part of this, they are not looking to install any kind of new driveway. They're not looking to install any kind of new easement. They're going to use an easement that's already there for the existing homes. There's kind of just this one lot that's kind of sandwiched in the middle of existing lots that they're trying to utilize, which is that cross-hatched lot that's proposed here. one of the things when staff does these reviews, we want to look at other possible options. There is an option, even though it maybe isn't the most conventional, there is an option though where both of these lots could possibly have like an 80-foot finger, if you want to call it, that could go kind of to the southwest of the property below it to access South Danoon Road. It would probably be a pretty irregular shaped lot, even more so than is out there today or is currently proposed. But there is an option, it's just maybe not the most conventional. One other thing that we noted in looking at doing this research, we noticed that the 2020 comprehensive plan identifies this area as rural density residential. So basically the crosshatched lot and everything westward, which was all part of the original family farm at one time, is in that low density residential category, which means you need about 2.04 acres per lot. And the proposed lot is under that acreage. So one of the things as part of, if this goes further, that we would have to consult our attorney on is, we know that this proposal would meet the zoning ordinance. It doesn't meet the comprehensive plan. And the question would be, is per the smart growth law, would the applicant have to ask for a land use amendment to change the 2020 comprehensive plan, or would they not? And that's something we would talk to our attorney on. So that's not really something the Plan Commission needs to weigh on. That's more of a legal question for the city attorney. So the question really tonight, though, is the Plan Commission okay with having this additional lot with no right-of-way frontage and not 80 feet of that right-of-way frontage?
I know the area quite well, and I've been up and down that easement. The road is well maintained. It's maintained by the neighbors. I don't really have a problem with adding one more lot, considering there's 4 homes on there now, or 5 homes on there now, I believe. So I don't have an issue with that. How short are they as far as land size?
Let me just double check the number here. So it looks like they're about 1.4 acres proposed, and they need 2.04 if that comprehensive plan takes effect. And the reason I question it is, longer ago, it wouldn't have been a concern because the comprehensive plan would have usually been looked at in a more comprehensive standpoint, hence the name. But due to some of the smart growth law from 2010, I believe that there may be this legal requirement that any land use decision has to match your comprehensive plan and your zoning. So meaning if it matches one and not the other, you have to change one or the other to match each other. So in their scenario, doing the comprehensive plan land use amendment would be the option. Now, obviously I can't speak for the council, but the Plan Commission and council would be involved in that decision. I wouldn't think it would be a big issue because my hunch would be you would just be doing these last 2 lots, which actually makes sense. All the lots east of here are the medium density, which is typically found around that lake. Mm-hmm. To make these 2 more lots medium seems like a pretty easy decision in my eyes as a planner in keeping all the rural farmland, rural density, but that still takes steps. The comprehensive plan amendment process takes about 1.5 to 2 months because of statutory requirements. So the only thing would be is if we did find out from our attorney they had to do that, it just takes a little bit of time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Everyone's good with the proposal?
I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You got enough to go back to the petitioner with?
Yeah, we can touch base.
All right. Moving on. Sure. Moving on to PC 048-2020, discussion of a conceptual certified survey map for Byron Huron, located at South 99 West 20523 Parker Drive.
All right, so this is another one of those conceptual discussions. This land division in a different form has been in front of the Plan Commission before. This landowner who owned this kind of larger piece of land originally about 10 or 15 years ago split off 4 lots off of what was allowed at that time as a private driveway known as Madison Court. Our current regulations, as you are kind of aware and kind of on that last item, when you're doing additional lots on a private dedicated right-of-way, so the reason this is different from that last one is this is right-of-way where the other one's easement. Easement and right-of-way are very different. So in this case, it's dedicated right-of-way. and any additional land divisions on the right-of-way will require road improvements. So their proposal with this master plan would be to do this in pieces, because you can only do so many lots at a single time on a CSM. Their proposal would be to do no more than 4 lots at each land division document. So their proposal here would include 3 new lots, I should say 2 new lots in the existing farm would all front on Parker. And then there would be 4 lots and an outlot that would all be accessed off of Madison Court. So Madison Court would go from 4 homes on it to an additional 4, so a total of 8 homes on Madison Court, hence the need for the road improvement. So the reason that the developer is asking for this is just to make sure that there's no major concerns for the planning commission. The engineer and the owner on this project both kind of wanted to just vet this through the process to make sure there weren't any major hurdles as they go forward. We know there's drainage concerns in the area, so their engineer has already been looking into drainage and stormwater to make sure that everything is covered as much as possible in case there would be any future questions. So they're just looking for any kind of feedback. At a quick glance, without doing the full engineering review and planning review, the different code requirements as far as frontage and width and area appear to be met, at least in the precursor review.
Discussion, questions, comments?
Well, you've addressed the question I had. It's a water question. I just want to make sure that's engineered well, because I know there's some issues going south from that location.
Yeah, and we can't, this is in the Milwaukee Metro Sewage District area as far as stormwater regulations, which are pretty intense. So they will be required to meet what those are. So there's different ways of doing that, and their engineering team has been working with our staff and consultant engineers kind of trying to hammer out those items. So yeah, that's something that's well aware on everyone's radar, that anything that's able to properly be done would be done.
So you think they're going to be able to move all that water to the east? Because I know there's a pond kind of in the middle of the area, and then there's a pond to the southeast of that area.
Mark, did you want to, the engineer is here. He can maybe kind of give you a little bit of comment on what their preliminary engineering is looking like.
Yeah, up to the microphone. It may need to be turned on. You can tap the front and see if it's on. Yeah, it's on.
Okay, hi, I'm Mark Elena, the civil engineer on the project. And yes, we've talked to your consultant. We've also gotten some guidance from MMSD, and they want us to preserve as many low spots as possible. So there is a low area in the center of that property. We're going to maintain that as existing condition. You can see there's a depression in the middle, just to the east of the cul-de-sac that I'm showing. Let me see.
Right there.
Let me just refer to a lot number. The small wetland area, that would be on lot 3, on the flag to lot 3. There's a depression, internally drained area. It's got some tile that drains to the east. We're going to maintain that area as it is. So yes, there's a high point in the court, in the public courtyard that we're going to put together. We're going to drain that back to the east. It's going to be trapped in this internal area, and then furthermore, if it has enough capacity, runoff, it'll flow to the east, and then we have yet another area to detain and slow release into the wetland area to the south. In no way do we see more water leaving this property than today. Okay? But MMSD has stricter rules. We have to actually decrease the 100-year to like the 2-year. They use these coefficients of runoff per area. For example, the 100-year is 0.5 CFS per acre, and the 2-year is 0.15 CFS per acre. So they just use a coefficient times the area, and that's what you have to meet. And it's way down. The 100-year will be released at a 2-year event. If it does at all, I don't see it leaving the property, to be honest with you. Once we have it detained and slow released out of the internally drained area. It's going to get out of there by a tile maybe, and then head to our detention area.
Because I know where the Webco lines are, it's pretty wet back there
Okay.
from time to time, yeah.
And as long as we're talking about that, let's talk about the north side of the property. That's an internally drained area as well. It's wetland, it's internally drained. Its watershed is very limited to the road, half the road. You can see my large drainage divide there. Okay, so if we look at existing and proposed conditions, I don't see the water leaving, the runoff, leaving this internally drained area. I mean, we've talked about this as a group, with your consultant and MMSD. And what they want us to do is maintain these areas and give them water as long as they're treated. So we have to treat them, and then we're allowed to release as long as we don't impact the roadway to the north. You know, we got to be careful. We don't impact anything in an adverse way.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you.
That's my take on it, so. And, you know, I want some more input on the roadway. So we're flipping the bulb so I can get frontage, or I can show frontage on the bulb. And I understand that the frontage must be 80 feet at the 50-foot setback. So I just want to make sure that that's
Right
what
there,
we're
that's,
shooting
yep.
for. 'Cause
Yep.
these are flag lots, they're not.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with the ordinance is more so than that, but even is the frontage at the right of way itself. So on the bulb, anywhere where it's curvature, it can be 45 feet. Anywhere it's not curvature is 80 feet, which, yeah, I mean, from what we saw in our precursor review, seemed like you were meeting that.
We agree, not a problem. We can make that work. Okay. And I see that lot 7 is rather large. In the case that I need more detention, it's going north. I'm taking more area out of lot 7. Okay?
Sure.
But that watershed goes to the east, to the southeast.
Okay,
Does that answer?
sure, it does, thank you.
Oh, good.
Any further feedback? Got enough direction? All
What
right,
about your
Sounds good.
estate lot? You want to talk about that?
I lost my agenda.
The lot in the middle?
There it is. All right, moving on to resolution PC 051-2020, approving of a building site and operation plan amendment for Muskego Lakes Middle School located at W124 South 8009 North Cape Road and South 81 West 12904 Highview Drive.
Move to approve.
Second?
Adam, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So the school district has approached us recently regarding some planning that they're working on for the upcoming school year. And with the COVID pandemic being present, the school realized that there's going to be, they expect a significant larger amount of students being driven to school versus traditional soul busing. And in an effort on that note to try to keep students spaced out, part of their plan was to have different age students at this middle school specifically enter at different points in the school to try to help keep social distancing and separation. So as you can see in the image that's on the screen, kind of an overview of the site, there's 2 front parking lots. The northern front parking lot is going to be used by busing. And I think the first thing I should actually go back up a second note is all traffic will enter this site from North Cape Road just as it does today. So nothing's changing with how any vehicle enters the site. So buses would enter. They're going to be using that northern parking lot. The 5th and 6th grade students, parents that are driving them to school are going to be using the southern front parking lot. So there'll be a split point. They're going to split. They'll each have their own area, so they're not intermingling once they get to their lots. And then the plan is to have the 7th and 8th grade drop-off parents go through the rear of the property and drop off at the lower rear end of the property. So that, none of that's really in question, and none of that's really a concern of the planning commission. The reason we're at planning commission is as those students get dropped off in the 7th and 8th grade in the lower back area, as the parents exit, if those parents were to exit back in the front of the school where the bus is and the other parents are merging, the school district is very worried about creating a lot of congestion and backup because of all these 3 different areas kind of merging into one as they go then back onto North Cape Road. So the district was making a request to see if they can use what was originally approved as kind of emergency access drive, which you can see in the drawing here, kind of the arrows pointing on the lower part of the drawing. That driveway, as you may recall, was required to be put in for a secondary access point for emergency purposes. It's basically a 1-lane wide paved driveway with a gate at the end of it by McShane. So what they're not McShane, I'm sorry, Highview, sorry. So what they're looking at doing is the request in front of the Planning Commission is to use that strictly as an exit point for the 7th and 8th grade parents during the morning pickup in the morning drop off, in the afternoon pickup. The district has requested this through the duration of the 2020-2021 school year. And like I said, yeah, we got this in front of the Planning Commission as they were involved in the original approval of the site. They've kind of noted there are kind of 2 real peak maximum traffic times for the drop-offs, which were around 7:55 to 8:05 in the morning, and pickup is 3:05 to about 3:15. So those would be the predominant times when you would see traffic exiting through this private driveway onto Highview.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
Will that emergency exit be relocked once again after those peak times? I guess I'd prefer to have that done so that you don't have a constant
Jeremiah is here
traffic.
for the district.
House
Answer that.
signage and
Jeremiah Johnson with the Muskego Norway School District. Yeah, we can lock in between the hours, and we intend to put signage up. So we have signage inside, and maybe we should also consider having a do not enter sign because we won't be coming into the property from there. We'll just be exiting from it.
Okay, if you could, because then it would help the people on Highview.
Yeah, for sure, the do not enter. We don't want anyone to start using it as a cut through.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? All right,
Could we make that part of the resolution?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to make the motion to
Do
amend?
you want to include signage and locking it during the
Yeah.
used hours if
I'll
it's-
make that amendment to the,
Could I get a second to that?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor of the the motion as amended, say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to Resolution PC 052-2020, building, approval of building site and operation plan amendment for Serendipity Redesign Soiree located at South 73 West 16582 Janesville Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Adam will walk us
Thank you,
through
Mayor.
this.
Yeah, so as you all may recall, Soiree came through the Planning Commission back in, I think it was 2019, to extend their parking on site. And at that time, their plan kind of was in year 1 was to do gravel parking lot off to would be the northeast side of the building. And then year 2, their original plan was to have asphalt installed by June 30th of 2020. This condition was tied to their business registration and their liquor license. When their liquor license came up this year, they weren't able to pave the parking lot yet. So the Common Council granted kind of a temporary extension until September 30th, 2020, so they can kind of figure out what was going on with the parking. So the applicant then, since that time, reached out to staff and decided to make a request. And due to the kind of uncertainty, in the past, because they did have to close for a little bit with COVID, as well as the uncertainty into the future with revenue, they're asking for an extension until June 30th of 2021, which then would be concurrent again with their business registration and liquor license to have the parking installed. So basically asking for an extension to the end of next June. They're also, like I said, and they're kind of citing, like I said, with the COVID stuff. And as part of the COVID stuff, they're also asking to be allowed an outdoor seating area that would be located just to the west side of their building. They're not looking at doing a formal patio or anything. It would really just be, just some chairs, a fire pit, little gazebo. If they were to ever do any kind of, hardscape surfaces, they would need a formal permit or approval for that. But this would allow them, as part of our approval and their liquor license, to allow patrons to also sit outside. So, looking for any kind of plan commission comments, feedback, discussion. The applicants are here if there's any questions.
Well, I think we should grant their request for extending for the pavement till next year. And then the outside seating, wouldn't that kind of fall under what we decided in June about letting people do outside seating?
That was temporary, this would be permanent.
Yeah, they want to have this indefinitely. So this is the right way to ask for it for a permanent outdoor seating solution. That other item, which a few people have taken advantage of, is strictly for this year only.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
I feel they should be extended also, and for a couple of reasons. One, the paving, being in construction for 40 years, the paving is going to be a much better application after it settles and everything is compacted over a year's time with another winter, time. And for the outside seating, I think that's just a natural flow for the type of venues that we're having in today's economy. Is they want to sit outside in inclement weather, and there's even a lot of restaurants that are having the little heaters on the outside. They're doing that. So it's more the European type, and I think that's one of the things that's happening with our economy right now is people are getting back to, not rush. We're just sitting down. I think this is a nice venue to have that. So I'd like to grant that also.
Were there intended to be any improvements on the outside seating area?
The petitioners are here if they want to come up and clarify that.
I'm Rick Hahn, one of the owners. By improvements, are you suggesting, right now we're just looking for just patio furniture, something non-permanent. Anything permanent, we would come back to the plan commission.
Yeah, I totally understand currently with the conditions we're all facing. Makes sense. I suggest that we're moving the hard surface parking a year out, that this ought to be reviewed again in a year's time, because I'd say we ought to see some sort of plan for any improvement if it goes well. I hope it does, and see some sort of formality in it.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see a little bit more of a sketch as far as what you picture this patio area to be, and
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, our first priority is the parking lot, given the
Sure.
cost, the expense of it.
Right.
So the patio aspect right now is literally just patio furniture and temporary fixtures.
Understand.
So is that something you want to,
You want to make an amendment
I'm
to,
that by that same date, June 30th of next year, they come back with some formal outdoor plan?
Yeah.
do we have a second on that?
second.
If I may ask,
Yes.
to clarify, that's just a plan, not necessarily to execute by the same date?
Right.
Okay.
Further questions or comments?
So we're approving the outdoor temporarily until June 30th of next
Right,
year.
so
Okay.
we're
Just so I
approving,
understand.
essentially we're approving the whole resolution until
Till June 30th.
June 30th. It's the finishing the paving the parking lot and approving the outside
Understand.
use of it. If they want to continue the use of the outside, they need to come back with a more extensive plan or permanent plan.
Extensive plan.
Yeah.
One for review.
Sure.
Understood?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor of first let's start with the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment passes unanimously. All those any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion or the resolution as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, moving on. Miscellaneous business. We have none. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We adjourned at 6:30. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.